Good evening, and welcome to Sassy Keto Nurse, to our Monday night live informational session on cholesterol. Tonight we're going to be talking about the truth about cholesterol, because we've been lied to long enough. I'm going to wait here for a few moments and let people start getting on, and then I'll introduce myself and we'll get down to the information. I'm just going to be sharing for right now. Good evening, whoever you are. Make sure that you say hey and let me know where you're from. Hey, Becky. Make sure that you share this one. This is on the public page, so make sure you share it to your timeline so that other people can see the information. How are you doing this evening, Becky? It's a rainy Monday evening in Northeast Georgia. And I didn't bring my water in here. Darn it. Oh, that's awful. I can't stand steroids. That's just the truth of the matter. Hello, whoever that is. Make sure that you share to your timeline. Say hey and let me know where you're from so we know where we're reaching. I am too. Oh my goodness. I feel so terrible for Dr. Barry and Nisha. But you know what? Things work out in mysterious ways, and the Lord is definitely in their life, and I just feel like this is probably going to come back, and they're going to come back bigger and better than they ever were. Because if this does turn out, I've seen a lot of posts today with people thinking that it could be intentional, and if it does turn out that it was, it's only going to push the cause further. So I just feel like everything's going to work out the way it should. Y'all make sure that you're saying hello and sharing where you're from. And also, please make sure to share this video to your timeline so that this information can get out to as many people as possible. I want to welcome everybody to Monday Night Live. Tonight we're going to be talking about the truth about cholesterol. We have been lied to long enough. I did this on the public page because I really want to get this information out to as many people as possible. The truth about cholesterol is the exact opposite of everything that we've ever been taught. It's the exact opposite of everything that any medical person has ever been taught. Y'all, this was one of the hardest things for me to comprehend and really wrap my head around when I started this way of life, because cholesterol and the levels for cholesterol and the ranges for cholesterol have always been taught in nursing school and biology and microbiology and A&P. We're taught the things that you hear from your physician every day. And we're taught that it's so dangerous and such a huge marker for cardiac and stroke risk. And the truth is it's not. There's good news tonight, y'all. Y'all are going to find out tonight that cholesterol is not the demon that it has been made out to be. So, okay, everybody's not saying hey, so I'm just going to say hey to everybody. Hi, everybody. My name is Melissa English. I am the Sassy Keto Nurse. I established this page and this community in February of 2018 after I'd been on my journey for about 7 months. I have conquered obesity, depression, anxiety, type 2 diabetes, cholesterol, blood pressure, and several other ailments that aren't medical in nature so much. I sleep better. I feel better. I have more energy. My hormones are balanced. I feel like a new human being. I have lost almost 100 pounds. I'm getting very, very close. I can't wait to be able to announce that one. But the biggest thing is that I am on a mission. I'm on a mission to get as much information out there as humanly possible to help others to take back their health, to take control of their health, and to get themselves back to a place where they feel good, where they feel healthy. So tonight's talk is about cholesterol, but you can join us in Sassy Keto Nurse and Friends, which is my private group. And you can just ask to join the group. I'll be happy to put you in there. We have a live every Tuesday and Thursday on information, and I share information on different subjects regarding keto. Every Saturday night here at the Sassy Keto Nurse, I have an informational meeting about keto in general, about getting started, about the benefits of keto and what it can do for you. And I also have a secret group, the Sassy Keto Nation. Those are my patrons. They are subscribers. It's a subscription group. That group is meets on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday in a live. We try to share as much information as possible. I go in depth with some of the medical issues and some of the science. We also do cooking together. We do kitchen lives, and we do book reviews there. My patrons also get the benefit of getting everything ahead of everyone else. They get things before anyone else sees them, before I post them on YouTube or on the channel or on Instagram, and we all kind of talk about things beforehand. They are my tribe. So if you want to be a part of said tribe, you can subscribe over on my Patreon page. That's www.patreon.com/sassyketoNurse. And you can pledge there. If you pledge tier 2 or higher, which is $12.50 a month or higher, then you will be put into the Sassy Keto Nation and you'll be part of that group. Now let's get started talking about some cholesterol, y'all. There's only a couple of y'all here right now, but I'm hoping that several more will join. And this video will be going up on the YouTube channel so that we can share this information with the world. Okay? So let's talk about what is cholesterol. Cholesterol is a vital substance in the human body. Our body, it's a structural element in our cells as well as in our brain and the central nervous system. Cholesterol is vital for proper function of those cells. It helps to build the cell walls. Your brain is made up of 25% of your brain and central nervous system are made from cholesterol. Hey, Kim. Sorry, y'all. I'm dry. So, I got a lot of my information from Dr. Jockers, from perfectketo.com, from several studies and journals, medical journals that I've read over the last week or so. And so I'm just going to be sharing this information with you guys. Hey, Edna. All right, let's talk about our body. Our body is smart, y'all. Our body wants to maintain a cholesterol homeostasis. Now, what that means is there's different types of cholesterol. I'm doing great, Edna. Thank you so much for asking. There's different types of cholesterol, but we're going to talk about those in a few minutes. What I want to talk about right now is, what does cholesterol do for your body? We've been told for decades that cholesterol is this demon that is just clogging our arteries, and if you eat all this fat and butter, then you're in big trouble and you're going to have a heart attack or a stroke. Hey, Sunshine, check out. Y'all, Sunshine Burl is watching right now. She's the one who does my hair. Y'all look at this. It's rocking. 2 weeks later, it looks awesome. And now I'll talk about Dr. Berry here in just a little bit. Okay, let's talk about cholesterol right now. All right, so cholesterol is used for building hormones. Now that includes all of your sex hormones, your estrogen, your progesterone, your testosterone, your cortisol, your vitamin D. Cholesterol is necessary for your body to produce those hormones. Cholesterol strengthens your cell membranes. Cholesterol is a vital part of the structure of every cell membrane in your body. That's not just in your brain and your central nervous system, but every cell in your body requires cholesterol to hold it together. Cholesterol transports vitamins. We like to refer to cholesterol as little boats. It's the little boats that carry all the vitamins and the hormones where they need to go. It's a transport vehicle. And Edna, you do have hormones. You may have been through menopause at this point in your life, and you may not be producing as much estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone as you did before menopause, but you do still produce some hormones. And for those to be produced, you have to have cholesterol. Cholesterol also helps your body to absorb the nutrients from your food. Y'all, we never talk about that. We don't talk about how cholesterol is beneficial. It's a carrier. It's not really an oil, Sunshine. Cholesterol itself is actually just I don't know how to explain it without getting really, really technical. Just like a carbon ion is like one carbon, but then you have, let's say, water is 3 molecules. Cholesterol is a lot like that. It's several molecules that come together to work together to act as a transport vehicle. So it has like receptors that it will pick up different things. Hey Ruth, it'll pick up those vitamins, especially fat-soluble vitamins, y'all. A, D, E, and K. Those fat-soluble vitamins that are needed by every single cell in your body. Cholesterol is the transport agent, the bonding agent, yes, that's a very good way to put it, that actually gets those vitamins from where they come in, whether it be in your food, whether it be through sunshine with vitamin D, whether it be with supplements that you take. It picks those up and then takes them, transports them. The little boats run down the river through your blood to wherever they need to be, whether it be the muscles, the cells, your heart, your lungs, wherever. Now, here's one that you just don't hear about so often. 75% of the cholesterol in your body is produced by your body. Now that's one that you really got to get hold of, because for us to be told all our lives how terrible cholesterol is, the truth of the matter is that 75% of the cholesterol in your body, in your makeup, is made in your body, because your body requires cholesterol to function. Only 25% of the cholesterol that you see in a lipid panel comes from dietary intake. And truthfully, most of the fats that you eat, only 25% of that goes to cholesterol. The rest of it is actually utilized for energy, for other things that your body needs. I'm sorry, y'all, I'm getting messages as I'm talking, so I've got the phone and the laptop and everything else. most of your dietary cholesterol, most of the food that you eat that is turned into cholesterol in your body that becomes cholesterol is actually processed and then it's excreted. It's not even used in your body. It never makes it into the bloodstream. They make it out like if you eat butter, that it's just, that butter's just sucking right up into your bloodstream. Well, that's just not the truth. The truth is only the tiniest particles of cholesterol can get through your blood, your veins, your y'all, I'm just talking all over myself. Blah. Your blood, your veins and your arteries and all those, the walls, only the tiniest of cholesterol particles can actually make it into the actual bloodstream where it can get to your heart or cause any type of plaques. Now let's talk about the plaques, because they make it out like cholesterol is the reason that you get these plaques in your bloodstream. This is not true. Cholesterol is actually part of the healing mechanism of your body. Between cholesterol, calcium, and white blood cells, that is what creates a patch inside. Let's say that you have a nick, a cut, you have something happen to a blood vessel, and it has to be repaired. Well, your white blood cells go to that area, the cholesterol goes to that area, and the calcium goes to that area, and it creates a patch. Now, what happens when you get atherosclerosis, which is the hardening of your arteries, which is that building of plaque that causes blockages? That's not actually caused by cholesterol. It's caused by sugar, carbs. It has been scientifically proven that what happens is those patches, it's just like a blood clot. It patches until it's healed and it lets go. Then it is processed and excreted. But sugars, glucose, glycogen, all of those things that happen from carbs and sugar intake, those are sticky. And those tend to grab onto the cell walls. And those are actually what build up and cause those plaques that cause thinning of your bloodstream. It thickens the walls, not the wall itself. It's actually a plaque that's attached to the wall, but it thins the area where you may have a lumen. The lumen is the inside of a blood vessel, okay? That's in here. That looks horrible. Sorry, guys. All right, so this is your blood vessel, and it's this big. But when that starts to thicken up from those sugars and carbs and all those little particles getting stuck, and they all stick together, then what happens is it starts to get thick in here, and it starts to get smaller and smaller and smaller. So your blood has less room to move, and guess what that causes? High blood pressure. High blood pressure. Now, the smallest cholesterol particles, those small LDL particles, those do contribute to atherosclerosis. And so those triglycerides especially are what we are trying to avoid. That is what we're trying to lower in our blood panels. But your overall cholesterol number pretty much means nothing, because it has been scientifically proven, yet again, that higher cholesterol levels, especially in older adults, in particular women, have actually been proven to be healthier, to show longevity, to extend life, not shorten it, okay? Cholesterol is carried through the bloodstream by lipoproteins. A lipoprotein, lipo meaning fat, protein meaning protein. Lipoproteins are what carries your cholesterol through your bloodstream. So you have two main kinds of cholesterol that everybody knows about. That's the HDL, which has always been referred to as the healthy cholesterol or happy cholesterol, and then the LDL, which when I was in nursing school, they called it the lethal cholesterol. Well, y'all, that's just not true either. Okay, let's talk about what HDL and LDL do. HDL is your high density lipoprotein, HDL, okay? And what its job is, it's like a street sweeper. The HDL's job is to move through the bloodstream and to pick up those tiny particles and those used up particles of cholesterol that have not been utilized, and to get them out of the bloodstream before they start to break down. Because when cholesterol breaks down, it releases free radicals and it causes oxidation. Those are bad things. Those are things we don't want. We do not want free radicals, which are just tiny particles in our system that don't have any purpose whatsoever. And oxidation is what causes inflammation in our system. So the HDL, which is produced in your liver, brings all that unused cholesterol or that processed cholesterol that's already done its job before it starts to break down. It brings it back to the liver, processes it out, and it gets rid of it before it can oxidize and those free radicals can be released. Now, this is what we want to stay high. We want our HDL up. We want our HDL to be high so that it can do its job and keep that bad LDL, those small particle LDLs, out of the bloodstream as much as possible. It has been shown in several different double-blind studies with over 1,000 participants each that in type 2 diabetics, for every 1 milligram per millimolar, which is 1 milligram / mmol on your lab report, for every 1 milligram that your HDL drops, your risk for type 2 diabetes goes up 4%. So you want to keep your LDLs high. You don't want those dropping. And what happens when you take a statin, y'all? Your cholesterol drops. That's what it's made for, is to drop your cholesterol, to lower your cholesterol, to keep your cholesterol low. And it affects the HDL just as much as it affects the LDL. When those HDLs are low, then those bad particles, the tiny LDL particles in your bloodstream, are not getting swept up and excreted and gotten out of the system. Instead, they're breaking down inside the bloodstream, releasing free radicals, causing oxidation, and causing that atherosclerosis. Okay, so that is where all that comes from. Your LDL, now this is the lethal cholesterol. Let's talk about that. LDL is your low density lipoprotein, but there are different types of LDL. LDL delivers nutrients and energy to cells. So LDL, this lethal cholesterol, is actually the cholesterol that delivers your fat-soluble vitamins to your cells, the A, D, E, and K. Now, if we don't have that LDL, what's delivering our vitamins? Nothing. And that's what's happening. So statins lower this cholesterol, and this cholesterol keeps getting lower. And what happens to people? They have oxidation. They have free radicals. Guess what happens when all that happens? Atherosclerosis, further risk for cardiac arrest and stroke. And this is when you start seeing dementia, risk of Alzheimer's, risk of cognitive dysfunction. All of those happen when we lower the cholesterol too low. LDL also moves very slowly. Okay, where HDL moves along at a pretty quick pace, LDL moves much slower in the bloodstream. So sometimes it can get stuck where some of that HDL has come along and made a patch, or where that sugar has bound together and gotten stuck on the inside of the arterial wall, then that LDL scooting by at a slow pace tends to get stuck there. When it gets stuck there, it starts to break down. It's kind of like a shark swimming through the ocean. When it gets stuck, it dies. When it stops moving, it dies. Then it oxidizes, releasing free radicals. We're right back to that mess. So a general lipid panel only shows how much total cholesterol you have in your blood. Hey, Brittany. It only shows the total amount of cholesterol in your blood, and it will show an HDL and an ADL, or an LDL, I'm so sorry, and your triglycerides. But it does not break that LDL down, because with LDL you have the large particle LDLs. The large particle LDLs are the good LDLs. That's what you want. Those cannot get through and cross that blood-brain barrier like the small particles. So you got these big fat particles, these big fat LDLs. Those are good. We want those. And what happens is, when just a regular lipid panel is drawn, and the doctor looks at the results, and he sees your LDLs are sky high, he's like, oh, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad, we're putting you on a statin. Well, the problem with that is, if they don't do a fractionated lipid panel, which is actually called an NMR. I wrote it down somewhere. And look at me, I can't find it. It's an NMR panel, and the NMR actually breaks that LDL count down so that you see what the big particles are and what the small particles are. As long as those small particles are staying low and the big particles are doing their job, it doesn't matter. But the problem with this whole situation is that most physicians do not order a fractionated lipid panel or an NMR. Instead, they order a regular lipid panel, and they read a total cholesterol, and they throw you on a statin. Y'all, I will be 49 years old in July. And my doctor tried to put me on statins over 3 years ago. I refused to go on statins because I had read a lot of stuff about statins themselves. This was before keto. And I didn't like what I was seeing about statins, and I didn't want to be on one. So I refused to go on statins. Well, that didn't make my doctor too happy. Hey, Christy. But here's the thing. Now that I've done keto, my cholesterol levels are higher now than they were then. But I had an NMR done. I had that fractionated lipid panel done. And my HDL to triglyceride ratio is amazing. It's like 0.7. You want it to be below 2. But my lipids are much higher than a traditional cholesterol lipid panel shows to be normal. So my doctor was still wanting to talk to me about my cholesterol. So you know what I did? I took those studies with me. I went to my doctor's office. I paid my copay. I paid a $40 copay to sit down and have a conversation with my doctor, so that I could sit and go through these studies and say, you know, I'm not doing this blind. I'm not trying to be disrespectful in any way, but I've done this research, and this research shows, this is recent research, shows that all the levels and all of the ranges that have been put out for cholesterol are wrong. They're skewed by bad research, by bad reports, by bad journal articles. It all goes back to that 7-country study. And the thing is that my doctor, thank the Lord, is very open-minded and sat there and listened to me. And I left those studies with them. And they are now fine with what I'm doing. They are very open to sitting down and talking to me. And I'm able to say, okay, well, this is what's going on with me this week. Let's talk about this. You know, when they had to put me on steroids, we sat down and talked about it for a long time because I knew what the steroids were going to do to me. But my doctor was able to show me that, hey, this is something that has to happen. And so I did it. It threw me out of ketosis. I had 3 very bad months. I gained weight back. I fell off the wagon. It wasn't fun. But in January, I got right back on. And I'm due to have new blood panels done in July for my birthday. I'm very excited to see where I am, because the only thing that is out of range per their stuff is my lipid panel. So let's talk about those small particle LDLs. Those are VLDL. Those are very low density lipoproteins. Now those are much smaller and they carry the triglycerides. Triglycerides, y'all, high triglycerides will cause poor metabolism. But here's the thing. Triglycerides create the fuel that your body's going to use in the future. So triglycerides are used to take, whether it be carbs if you're a carb eater right now and you haven't gone keto, or if you're keto and you're eating fat for fuel, triglycerides take that fuel and store it away. Well, where do you think it stores it away at, y'all? Fat cells. So, when you're a sugar burner, your triglycerides, they see all this fuel coming in because you eating some donuts and some pancakes and some biscuits and gravy. And it says, whoo, look at all that fuel. Let's put it away. So it takes it and it packages it up and it sticks it in a fat cell. Now, when you're keto and you've got all this fat coming in, number one, your triglycerides are super low. So the triglycerides that are in there, they're like, oh, here's some fat. Let's take that. Wait a minute. We don't need to put it in there because we need it. We need it. Oh, because when you're keto, your metabolism is sky high. And even though your body, you may not move, you may not be going to the gym 10 times a week, you may not be going and walking 5 miles a day. I don't. Yet my metabolism is through the roof. I got them on PubMed.com. Everything I get is from PubMed. I will look back and see if I can find where I printed them off, because I'll be honest with you, I don't save them. Y'all, I read probably 15, 20 studies a week. And that week I was working on getting those studies for him, and so I printed them off. But I will go back and look and see if I can find them, and if I can find them, or I will find the studies that I've used for this, and I will link them in the description of this video so that you can have access to them, okay? Alrighty. Higher levels of triglycerides and VLDL are known markers for insulin resistance. Can y'all figure out why through the talk that we've had so far? The reason is when you've got high VLDL, you've got high triglycerides, then what's happening is you're getting a lot of that oxidation and free radicals happening in your body, which causes insulin resistance. This is why. Let me see if I can, how do I want to put this? The receptors on your HDL that goes through and it grabs the LDL and it grabs those that have broken down and it takes it and gets rid of it. Those receptors are very similar to insulin receptors on red blood cells. So what happens a lot of times when your triglycerides and your VLDL are high, it blocks the receptors for insulin. And then you become insulin resistant. Your body is pumping out insulin. Your pancreas is pumping that insulin out because your blood sugar is this high. And it's pumping out insulin to go out and grab the blood sugar and control it. But when it goes out there, there aren't any receptors for it. And so now you've got this insulin that's out there trying to do its job, but it can't because none of the receptors are open. So you get insulin resistance. When you get insulin resistance, you get inflammation. You end up with obesity, type 2 diabetes, all of these different immune disorders, autoimmune disorders, dementia, Alzheimer's, cognitive dysfunction. All of those things happen. This all comes back to cholesterol. Because if you've got your cholesterol in order and your HDLs are high and your VLDLs, your bad LDLs, those teeny tiny ones, are low and your triglycerides are ultra low, then that oxidation and free radicals are not happening. So let's talk about regular LDLs. They're categorized in two different ways. When you talk with your doctor, you can talk to him about LDLs are categorized as particle A's and particle B's. Particle A's are the large LDLs. Particle B's are the small LDLs or the VLDLs. Let me see here. So now, going over to some stuff that I was reading with Dr. David Jocker's stuff, he talked about a study that he had looked at called the Framingham Heart Study. Let's talk about that for a minute. There were over 5,000 participants in the Framingham Heart Study. 40% of them had cholesterol less than 200 at the end of the study. Well, actually, that study is still going on. It's been going on since 1940-something, I believe. And every year, more people are put into this study so that it's an ongoing study to track what happens with people when their cholesterols are high, when their cholesterols are low, and in between, okay? So 40% of the people in this study, with over 5,000 participants to date, that had cholesterol under 200, which is what is recommended in the medical community. If your cholesterol is above 200, they want to put you on statins. They want your cholesterol under 200. 40% of the people with cholesterol under 200 in this study died from a heart attack. Folks that had a total of under 180 tripled their chance of stroke. Totals under 200 increased levels of cognitive dysfunction. What's important, guys, if you go in and your cholesterol is high, and your doctor says your cholesterol's high, your cholesterol's over 200, we need to get you on a statin. Talk to them first about checking your inflammation markers. That's your C-peptide. That's getting that NMR so that you get that fractionated LDL study. And I can't remember the name of the other one. C-peptide, NMR, fasting insulin. Get a fasting insulin. Because what they're looking at, what they see, here's the truth. This one does lead to heart disease. It's called the terrible triad. Okay? The terrible triad is when you have high LDL little particles. That's the pattern B, VLDL, very low density lipoproteins. High LDL, low HDL. HDL is the street sweeper. And high triglycerides. So high LDL, low HDL, high triglycerides is considered the terrible triad. And that is a medical, your doctor will know what the terrible triad is. And that's what they're looking for when they look at your lipid panel. Here's the problem. If they don't do that fractionated lipid study, that NMR, then they're not going to know whether your LDLs are high pattern A or high pattern B. However, your HDLs, y'all, your HDLs need to be between 50 and 80. And most people's are not, because we've been taught all our lives to stay away from all of those saturated fats. We've been told to stay away from butter and bacon fat and bacon and red meat and all of those things that in keto are staples. And so people have done that. And in this standard American diet, people's HDL drops, plummets. So you want it to be between 50 or 80, okay? Your LDL to HDL ratio, this is very important. LDL to HDL should be 3 to 1 or less. 2 to 1 is ideal. So let's say that your HDL is 70. You don't want your LDL to be higher than 140. Okay? And the thing is that if your HDL is in a healthy range, then it's going to be doing its street sweeper job, and it's going to be getting rid of those small particle LDLs and the large particle LDLs that are no longer needed. Hi, Stephanie. And it will stay within range. So highest, if your HDL is 70, you wouldn't want it to be higher than 210. But optimally, you want it around 140. You want it about a 2 to 1 ratio. Then your triglycerides to HDL ratio. Now this is the big one, y'all. 2 to 1 is the highest you want it to be. 1 to 1 is better. So if your HDL is 70, you really don't want your triglycerides to be any higher than 70. But if they're up to 140, you're okay. Your triglycerides on their own, you want those to be less than 100. Okay? So that goes back to that 1 to 1 ratio with your HDL. Because your HDL you want between 50 and 80. It can be a little higher. Anything over 90 with HDL though, it indicates that you could have an infection or some inflammation, maybe a little leaky gut. So 50 to 80 is your optimal range. That's what you want to aim for. How do you get your HDLs higher and your triglycerides lower? Get rid of carbs. Get rid of carbs and start giving your body the fuel that it needs. Start feeding your body healthy fats. Y'all, if you're not comfortable eating animal fat, that's fine. Use coconut oil, avocado oil, olive oil. Those are all healthy fats. But in the keto lifestyle, you are more than welcome to use lard and beef tallow and bacon grease. Eat red meat. Eat bacon. Eat butter. Real butter. Not margarine. Not, I can't believe it's not butter. None of that mess. Real butter. Because here's the caveat. If you straddle the fence with keto, if you kind of half do it and half don't, you're eating these great fats and you're eating lots of bacon and eggs and steak and butter, cream cheese, sour cream. Don't all that sound so good? But then you're also eating biscuits and gravy on the weekends with your family, or you're having a burger in the afternoon, or you're sneaking around and having some donuts here and there. What happens? Your body is so confused it has no idea what to do. And you end up making things worse. So you have to either poop or get off the pot. You want to commit to your health. Because what causes high cholesterol? Bad diet. What high cholesterol are we worried about? VLDL and triglycerides. That's the only two that we're really worried about, y'all. HDL, we want it higher. We want it between 50 and 80. LDL, you want between 100 and 240. Somewhere in there. Triglycerides, you want below 100. Okay? So, let's talk about why is your cholesterol high? Because here's the thing. When you do keto, and you start keto, and you start losing weight, your cholesterol is going to jump. Now, once you stop losing weight, once you get to your ideal weight, your cholesterol is going to come back down. And it's going to even out. It takes some time. Things that cause your cholesterol to be high. Insulin resistance. So until you heal the things that cause insulin resistance, your cholesterol will stay high. Rapid weight loss will cause your cholesterol to jump. Why is that? Because as those fat cells open up and release their contents, what's in there, y'all? The triglycerides done packaged up and put all your good stuff in there. They've stuck some cholesterol in there. They've stuck some hormones in there. They've stuck some fat in there. And so when those fat cells open up and they let go of their contents, it's all released into your bloodstream. How do you control that? Keep those HDLs up. Keep those street sweepers moving. Because as long as that HDL is high, it will keep getting that other cholesterol out of your bloodstream. Thyroid conversion. This one is a whole nother talk on thyroid, y'all, and I will get to that. I'm doing a lot of research on thyroid right now, and it is a lot more complicated than I expected it to be, so it's taken me a while. There are so many studies out there, and a lot of them contradict each other, and so it's weeding through and finding the things that actually come through as fact and not antidote. Okay? So I'm working on that. But thyroid conversion, your T3, your thyroid makes T3 and T4. Okay? T3 activates LDL receptors in your body. That's for that good LDL. So that T3 converts to T4 T4 converts to T3. See, I'm getting myself all confused there. T4 converts to T3, which activates the LDL receptors. What happens when that doesn't happen? If your thyroid is not working like it should, then you can get some thyroid dysfunction, thyroid conversion problems. The LDL receptors aren't working, and you get micronutrient deficiency. Because what does the LDLs do, y'all? The LDLs carry your fat-soluble vitamins and your micronutrients to where they need to be. So if your thyroid is not working the way it's supposed to, then your LDLs aren't doing what they're supposed to. So it's all about healing. Chronic inflammation. Cholesterol increases in your body when there is prolific cell damage. So as that inflammation changes, as that inflammation starts to go down, and those cells start to die, as the cells die, the parts of the cells, the particles, the different things, your cell membrane, all of the little micros and the cellules and all of that good stuff that's inside, all that has to be processed and broke down and metabolized. And while that is happening, your levels are going to go up in your blood. So, I said all that to say this. When you start keto, things in your body are going to go funky. Okay? You're not going to start keto on April 1st and feel like a new human on April 3rd. Because your body has metabolic damage. You have thyroid issues. You have cardiac issues. You got cholesterol issues. You got pancreas issues. You got liver issues. You got digestive issues. Leaky gut. Edna, what is leaky gut? Leaky gut is when the lining of your gut or your intestine start to stretch and open up. And instead of having these tiny little areas for things to get through, it starts to open up and allow things through your intestinal walls that aren't supposed to go through your intestinal walls, and it causes severe inflammation. All of those things are happening. When you're in a metabolic crisis, when you have metabolic syndrome, all of these different things are happening in your body, y'all. What keto does, and the reason that so many people get frustrated with keto, is because they'll start keto on April 1st, and yeah, you start feeling changes immediately. And if you stay strict keto and you do it the way it's supposed to be done, the way it is taught here in the Sassy Keto community, you're going to start seeing changes quickly. You're probably going to see a pretty decent weight loss that first week or two from water weight. And then it's going to kind of go, and it's going to slow down. It's going to continue, but it's going to be slow because your body is smart. When you change metabolic processes and you start fueling your body with fat and your metabolism starts shooting up, then your brain has to say, okay, I've got to prioritize. I've got to decide, what do I do first? Now, granted, your body can do hundreds of thousands of things all at one time. That's proven sitting right here. Just me sitting here talking, looking at you, raising my finger. My body had to go through 5,000 different processes for me to be able to do that. 1 million neurons had to fire and portray that message to my finger, portray that message to my mouth. My language center had to work. All those things are going on, but those are normal everyday things that have to happen. Respiration has to happen every day. Cardiac function has to happen every day. Thyroid function has to happen every day. Gut function, kidney function, all of those different processes. So what happens when you go keto and your body starts to heal? Your body will pick whatever it decides to heal at that point. And you may not see weight loss, but you're going to see a body change. You're going to see a different makeup. Your body composition will change. You will start to see inches come off where you may not see a pound come off the scale. You'll start to realize, hey, I'm thinking clearer. Or, hey, that ringing in my ears is gone. Or, wait a minute, that toothache that I've had for 3 months, it's just not hurting anymore. Or, for me, one of the first things I noticed, that 3+ pitting edema in my calves and ankles every night was gone. Y'all, it's one thing at a time. Allow your body to heal. Allow your body to go through these processes. Weight loss is not linear. Healing is not linear. Your cholesterol is going to shoot up, but it's going to come back down. Keep calm. Keto on. If you have questions, reach out to your community. That's what we're here for. I try to answer every question that is posed. Even if everyone else has been answering, I always try to put in my 2 cents. I always try to answer. If you have a question, you are more than welcome to email me or to private message me on Sassy Keto Nurse. I will research it. I will find the answer for you. I may not be able to do it right at that moment. I do work full time. But I will find the answer for you, and I will be there to support you through your journey and to guide you as much as you need guidance. Just like Byron asked earlier, where'd those studies come from? I will find those studies in my, y'all, I have about 5 of these notebooks, and you will notice, well, this is one of the fairly new ones. So it's just the front of it has been, this is just the front of this one. But I have about 5 of these notebooks where I have taken notes and written down studies and written down study notes and written down journal notes And I don't always, I'm not great about always citing those studies in my notebooks because it's my own personal research. But I will go back and I will find the information. I'll get it for you because that's what I'm here for. When I started keto, I didn't have that. And that's what I started this Sassy community for, was so that other people can get into this lifestyle, can take back control of their health, can learn about how these things function and learn the truth about body composition, about cholesterol, about fat, about sugar, about salt, without having to jump through 14 hoops to get there, which is what I did. But that's okay, because jumping through hoops got me where I am now. Now, I want to say there's 5, I knew I had them wrote down here. There's 5 tests to check for inflammation. Those 5 tests are, now if you, I will put these in the notes at the top in the description so that y'all will have them. The 5 tests to check for inflammation are fasting insulin, HbA1c, C-reactive protein, a serum ferritin, and a red blood cell width test. That's a RBCW. Your cholesterol tests that you want to get done are your standard lipid profile, which will have your HDL, LDL, and triglycerides. But then you also want to ask for an NMR lipo profile. That NMR is the fractionated lipo profile study, which will give you those particle sizes. Now, I will tell you this. Many doctors will not do the NMR. They do not believe that it is necessary. If they won't do the test for you, there are places online. You can go to My Labs. You can go to testmylabs.com. There's several different places. Just Google it. Just go into Google and put in Test My Labs. And you can find places online where you will go on there, you will pay a fee for the lab, and then they will send you a ticket to take to your local LabCorp, and it will have that on it. You pay for it out of pocket, and they will send it to you in an email. You can order your own labs, but when you order your own labs, you do pay out of pocket. Now, if your doctor is like mine, and you're able to sit down with your doctor and explain why you want to see these things, give them the reason. Y'all, doctors are good people, and they're smart people, and they want to learn. Sometimes they're closed-minded, but if you can give them significant proof that you know what you're talking about, go in there educated. Don't be rude. Be kind about it, and explain to them, I am on a journey for my own health. And through research and through guidance, I have found that this is something that I need to know. Will you please order an NMR profile for me? If they won't, then order it yourself. Okay? So that is our cholesterol talk for tonight. And I hope that I opened your eyes to the truth about cholesterol and helped you to understand a little why cholesterol goes up the way it does. I hope I helped you understand why statins do not do what they intended them to do. Well, they actually do what they're intended to do. They lower cholesterol. But the problem with that is when you lower cholesterol, you lower the body's ability to thrive the way that it was meant to thrive. So guys, I'm so glad everybody was here tonight. I really enjoyed talking with y'all. I'm going to shuck on out of here. It's 9 o'clock. We've been talking for an hour. I love these times that we get together. I look forward to seeing everybody in Sassy Keto Nurse and Friends tomorrow night. Tomorrow night we will be talking about kidneys. Kidneys. There's a lot of things that people believe about your kidneys that's not true. Good night, Ruth. Good night, everybody that was here. Good night to whoever may be watching this on the YouTube channel later. Again, let me say, If you haven't joined Sassy Keto Nurse and Friends, please come over and join us. We have a great time over there. We're a great community. We're almost 500 strong at this point, and we share a lot of information. We guide each other. We're very supportive. We're very jovial. I'm a jokester. I like it that way. It's more fun when you have fun with it. Yes, Edna, probiotics are plenty fine to take. And the Dr. Berry issue, let me let you know what's going on there. All that I know at this point is that at approximately 5 a.m. this morning, there was a local person in Camden driving through. They actually saw the smoke and such and reported the fire. And so it happened sometime early morning or so. At 4 p.m. this afternoon, it was still burning. They were still fighting it. You got to figure it's a medical office. There's oxygen, there's drugs, there's paraphernalia, there's stuff. Either way, no real news about, what started it or how it started. There's a lot of speculation. No one was in the office when it occurred. No one was injured. But they will have the office closed at this point. Of course, they can't see patients right now. They're hoping that they can find a rental space close by, that Dr. Berry will still be able to see patients. So y'all just stay in prayers for Dr. Berry and Nisha and the staff at the Berry Clinic, and for the whole community of Camden. Dr. Berry is their end-all be-all up there. He sees hundreds of patients a week, and he has been just, for me, he was my guiding light. He was the one that really kept me motivated. And he and Nisha are two of the most kind, God-fearing people I've ever met. They are incredible people, and God has their back. I'm quite sure of that. And I'm sure that they're going to come out on top of this thing bigger and better than they were before. So you guys just keep them in your prayers. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do so. It's Sassy Keto Nurse at YouTube. This video will be up on YouTube by the end of the night. It will be tagged on the page. Hey Levi, you catching me right as I'm signing off. If you want to be a part of our private secret group, Sassy Keto Nation, you're more than welcome to go over and pledge on my Patreon page. That's www.patreon.com/SassyKetoNurse. And if you pledge tier 2 or higher, that's $12.50 a month or higher, then you are granted access into the Sassy Keto Nation, as well as getting 10% off of all Sassy Keto products. You guys have a great night. I love y'all. Stay sassy. Sassy Keto Nurse signing off.